Wasn't it you said to take the stalk of broccoli and chew it 200 times a day?
Chew, 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 chew. And a little bit of parsley. And if you mix in a little seaweed in there.
A little cilantro, a little garlic, a little
Sounds
oil.
like a good time.
Well, if you chew, 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 many of our patients who have cancer never really chewed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is God's juicer. The body really needs juice. And that's why juicing really is an effective way. Everything that they say in these juicing at infomercials is true.
Mm-hmm. Well, it makes sense. Larger surface area, more absorption.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. More absorption, more surface area. It's undeniable that you're going to absorb it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you eat it raw, or if you eat like too much broccoli, it's hard for you to get all that stuff out. Most of it's going to be passing. But if it's juiced, it's undeniable. You're going to get the nutrition, and that's what the mouth is for: to juice, to chew.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll still get the same benefits if you juice rather than chewing with your mouth.
The nice thing about chewing with your mouth is you're going to be mixing in saliva. You're mixing in a lot of other things, and you're stimulating receptor cells in your tongue that are going to trigger to your brain. I'm eating what? You say, I'm eating broccoli. Oh, I have a special protocol for absorbing the nutrients from broccoli. You're involving the brain so much more when you chew.
Mm-hmm. And that's where the adenoids and tonsils come in.
And the nerves are known as the subthalamic nerves, because they go from underneath your tongue to the thalamus.
So that's why they recommend you put homeopathics underneath the tongue.
So that's where the information that goes from your mouth about what you're taking into the brain, the nerve that is strongest for that is under the tongue.
And it's called again?
Subthalamic. And so then when you take something into the mouth and you chew, 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 you're getting much more benefits. Now I think that having a glass of fruit/vegetable juice is one of the most powerful, healthy things that you can do to your body. And that's why I try to get it, but the girls, they have a religion. They don't want to mix the fruit with the juice, with the vegetables. They don't want to mix fruit and vegetables.
In your rules as a
They've been
stomach...
taught not to do that. We're talking about juice now.
Okay, so it is different.
It's a liquid now.
Yes, I'm glad to hear that. Because I stopped doing that because after the rules of the stomach...
The fluids alone, fruits alone, melons alone. So fluids is a juice.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can mix those juices together, there's no problem. As the body takes into our mouths, into the esophagus, into the stomach, and the small intestine, and the large intestine, as this process of food that comes into our bodies, etc. As we take in this different food, we need about 5 to 7 mouthfuls of food a day is what we need to live. A little person like her, 5 mouth, of course she's got a big mouth. Just kidding. But 5 mouthfuls of food is all. And he needs 7 truckloads. No.
Very nice.
Now, that normal Americans are having 27 mouthfuls a day. But the American Indian said all he needs is 7 mouthfuls a day to run, jump, hunt, do whatever, have a complete life. And that at that level you would gain no weight. You would have no fat. Nobody wants to live there, not me. Maybe she does. I think she eats less. Now, as the 7 to 10, 5 to 7 mouthfuls is our minimum need, but most of the time we're getting more. When we get more into our body, the body can take and produce fat and other things. Okay. Now, what we're going to be talking about mostly right now is we're talking about carbohydrates. When I go into nutrition, we're going to talk more about it, but what I'm talking about today is good sugars, bad sugars. Carbohydrates are known by their scientific name of saccharides. And we can get monosaccharides or polysaccharides, complex saccharides. Nature will give us poly, complex. The food industry wants to give us mono because they're going to be making them. There's 2 different types of sugars. Dextrose and levulose. Dextrose and levulose. When we analyze dextrose in the test tube and shine light into it, it twists the light to the right. That's why it's called right, dextrose. This is a quantic phenomena of how it handles photons. Levulose, when we shine the light into it, the photons are diverted to the left. Our bodies need sugar. We need glucose. Our bodies need sugar in our bloodstream. Without it, we pass out, die. We need it. The normal levels are 90 to 100 milligrams per deciliter. That's what we have in our blood probably now. And if I start getting really boring, it'll start to drop. Oh, no. Glucose is a dextrose. Sugar cannot enter into the body for energy unless it is rotating right. Every cell of the body needs sugar to operate, needs some form of glucose, some form of energy. Now, what happens in biology is that light strikes the plant. Remember I told you, when photons hit the electrons go into higher states, higher states, higher states. Glucose, the sugars that we get from plants and from animals, etc., they have hot electrons.
The process of photosynthesis is a quantic process where the photons hit the outer electrons, giving them energy and making them into what we call hot electrons inside the sugars. Our bodies will then take that energy to be able to make ATP and ADP for our energy. This is all a quantic process that happens when the light of the sun hits the electrons in the plant.
Electrons have been brought to higher levels by the sun, by heat, by some form of non-ionizing radiation. Okay? The electrons have gone to higher levels. That's the energy that is now sugar. Understand? In dextrose, those electrons have been revolving to the right. Dextrose is where we're going to get cane sugar, sugar cane, the white sugar, beet sugar, corn sugar, potato sugar.
Some sugars are high glycemic, dextrose type sugars, and they go right into the bloodstream too fast, creating a high in the blood sugar followed by a low. These are the high glycemic foods. These foods need to be avoided as they stretch and pull the pancreas and the cell membranes like a rubber band till it breaks. We need to recognize that there's different types of sweetness. There's the dextrose glucose, and then there's the fructose. Fructose is actually sweeter if we go into fruits. And this type of fruit sugar that has low GI, if it's not made with corn or not made with other things, it can be good. And here's a list of the good foods that we need to get into our diet to eat.
Major sources of our dextrose and grape sugar. These are right for me. The problem is these go into the body too fast. The dextrose goes into the body too fast. The cell that is sitting here with the insulin comes along. Insulin has an energy profile that comes, hits a trigger, opens the door. Without insulin, the sugar cannot go into the cell. So insulin's a key, opens up the door so it lets the glucose in. Those hot electrons are transmitted through a long chain of chemicals, and it's all an electrical process of taking those electrons and converting them into adenosine triphosphate, which is our needed energy molecule. Okay? In the presence of oxygen, there are 18 hot electrons in dextrose, in glucose. Okay? And when we have oxygen present, we will make 18 ATP, one for each electron. If there's no oxygen present, we can only make 2 ATP. Nature has allowed us to hold our breath. World record for holding breath is 9 minutes for a human. You can try it later on tonight. You can try yawning for 9 minutes.
Just do that.
By the way, the yawn is your body's message that you need oxygen. Understand now? A little bit? Okay, I understand. Now here's the problem. Those sugars, those dextroses, will go into the cell very rapidly. When you eat extra, more than the 5-7 mouthfuls, those compounds up there will go into fat too quick.
So to be very, very clear, we have to avoid the high glycemic sugars. We have to learn what foods are not to be eaten. We have to understand what we don't want our children and our people to eat. Here are the foods that are high glycemic. These foods over here in red are ones that will raise the blood sugar very rapidly, then followed by an extremely long low. When you do this, this extra level of dextrose will weaken the white blood cells, irritate the nerves, as this will create a push and pull on the pancreas that will create a problem of insulin control and many, many diseases. We have to learn that we avoid synthetic anything. Any type of synthetic sugars we need to avoid. We need to understand that these synthetics cause disease, not just from the drugs, but also from the sugars. We have to understand that these fast foods at this present time kill. They are incredibly bad. They make the blood sugar go up and down very much and stretch the membranes of the pancreas like a rubber band. Eventually it breaks. Scientists have declared war on the sugars in food. Also, high fructose corn syrup is a synthetic. It must be avoided. We must avoid the high fructose corn syrup. We have to avoid these sugar products. We have to avoid these things because these cause disease. Learn what not to eat. Apathy is our leading cause of whatever. And we have to understand what to eat. For sugars, we need fruits. Fruits are the best sugars. If we get fruits, we're going to get the fructose, get the levulose, and make everything better, and make our bodies better, more and more health. So the foods that we want to eat are here listed in green. Getting natural, fresh, raw, natural, avoiding synthetics, avoiding high fructose, avoiding other factors.
You say one more time.
Those dextroses, sugar, beet, corn, potato, grape, will go in, and also, wheat sugar. Most of the grains, etc. These dextroses, when you take them, will go into your body too fast. And they can go into fat too fast if you've overeaten. Because they go into the cell so fast, one of the problems is we have white blood cells all around the body that are afraid of dextrose. They go into it and they burn up the white blood cell. He gets too much sugar. And the white blood cell count will go down if you take in these sugars. 1 glass of cola, measure the blood sugar of a normal human being. 1 glass of cola, 30 minutes later, his white blood cell count will be in half.
So a person with leukemia perhaps should eat more of those things.
Well,
yeah.
But a person with a weak immune system should have less, especially somebody with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
This is what's killing. This is one of the other reasons for the problem. These dextroses will cause the blood sugar to, when you get them, you will get a high followed by a low. When you take in that candy bar, you will get hyperglycemia followed in 15-20 minutes by hypoglycemia.
Sugar crash.
And they used to have the advertisement. The guy was at the top of the ski hill and he says, I'm going to take this Snickers bar so I have energy to get to the bottom of the hill. And I just want to say, I hope he gets there before 20 minutes.
Better not be a whistler.
You know, yeah. Because he's going to have a little trouble after about 20 minutes. You get that high and low. Now this is what happened in the NFL back in the old days of Gatorade. You would get a rise. Gatorade. You'd get a pop-up. But it wouldn't last the whole game. Now the new thing is they find water. They find that fructose. Now, the other name for levulose is fructose. Fruit sugar. All of the other fruit sugars, I'm sure there's probably an exception or two, but all of the other fruit sugars mostly are left when you take them in Your body will have to slowly convert that to a right spinning. That delay process will stabilize your blood sugar. That stabilizes your immune system. That stabilizes your nerves. Lebulose will increase hormone production. Dextrose decreases hormone production. The key to anti-aging is lebulose. You do not see anybody who is a breatharian living on white sugar. He can't do it. And if you see somebody who could be a fruitarian living on fruit, nobody can live on these sugars. Every society that develops a dependency on one of those sugars, such as the Mayan Indians who depended on corn, the Romans who depended on oats and wheat, as soon as you start depending on too much and you're getting your compound from these, your society will be falling apart. These are not good.
It's basically the North
To live
American
on.
diet, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why? It's addictive.
Yeah.
No matter what I can do, I can't get Christy off the Fanta. It's addictive. I try to tell him, have orange juice. No, I like that Fanta, baby.
It's bubbles.
Because it will go right into, it goes quick. Wow, yeah, let's get going. 10 minutes later, well, let's sit down and take a nap. All of the anti-aging, all of the major diets of the world, all the healthy things. If we look at all the healthy people, the wonderful people of the world, the Goldie Hawns and whatever, they don't live on this stuff, they live on this stuff. Complex carbohydrates fall in here. And most beers are actually a type of lebulose, maltose, and other of the good beers, especially the black beer, dark beer. Dark beer is rich in maltose, and that's why dark beer will affect you differently than the golden beers. Golden beers will have a lot of sugar in them. Can't put them into the dark beers. So I want to tell you about good sugar, bad sugar. This is all a quantic discussion designed to tell us about the hot electrons that are got its energy from the sun, someplace, somehow. People started finding out that dextrose was a very constant sugar, sucrose, the white sugar that we get. And they said that was a really cool thing, and everybody started taking it, and it just hurts immune systems. And if you've gone a long, long time without any of that, give a candy bar to somebody who's never had a candy bar before, and watch his immune system crash in days.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he won't survive. Understand sugar?
Yeah, I think so.
What's an example of a monocarbohydrate? Or sorry, monosaccharide?
A monosaccharide is white sugar.
Just like
It's
sugar.
sucrose. There's one type of sugar in it. That means it's gone through a production plant, and it's been stripped, and they've taken away all the other stuff. They've ground it, and typically in white sugar they use a very harsh chemical that's a mustard gas from World War I. And with wheat, to make wheat white, they used a neurotoxin gas to strip away the nutrients and strip away to get down to a single saccharide, single carbohydrate that will go into your body real quick, into quick energy, hyperglycemia, followed by low glycemia. And it is the cycles of high and low blood sugar that is one of the best indicators of how well you can defend against other diseases, etc. Your immune system, your white blood cells do not like cascading high and low blood sugar. They like it to be stable.
And this is just sugars. So don't get everything else too.
Good sugar, bad sugar is a very big lesson that we need to know. Which is why, and I know a lot of people don't like when I say this, but I found that any patient I can get to drink water, I can get them to be better, drink more water. Any patient I can get them to use more fruit sugars than these sugars, I can get them to be better. Good oils, bad oils, fatty acids, we'll talk about that later. Let me continue about sugar. Questions? You understand? This white sugar, the sucrose, basically, as I tell my patients, is too good a fuel. So we got blood sugar. And the first way we're going to get blood sugar into the body is by eating, as we've just talked. Okay? But the human body does not have to eat. What's our second way of getting blood sugar? As we're going through life, we have to have some other ways of going through blood sugar. The pituitary is the organ sitting in the brain measuring the blood sugar. When the pituitary senses that you're getting a droppage in blood sugar, the pituitary will send out a message to the liver to take glycogen out of the liver, and some of the glycogen is in muscles. When I went to med school, they taught us that that was not true, but now we know that is true. There is glycogen in the muscles. Glycogen is stored glucose.
Anywhere else is it found?
No. Not trace amounts. This is largely your liver will hold possibly 1 pound to 2 pounds of glycogen. The liver, pituitary, and the adrenal gland will combine to send out compounds producing glycogen. Glycogen will be converted into glucose for you to live. Hence, I do not have to eat every 4 or 5 hours.
So that's why the body eats away itself in your starvation mode.
Now, to override this, to go to number 3. Number 3, if we now go past that pound and a half of glycogen, then the next step is gluconeogenesis. I love that word. Gluconeogenesis. Some people call it neoglucogenesis. Some people call it neogenesis glucose. No, anyway. You hear that. Now what that means is making new sugar. Here is where we break up fat. Fatty acids and fats stored in the body are converted into glucose by a pituitary hormone. And this pituitary hormone is a type of growth hormone known as somatropin. And if you have deficiencies in this, if you have problems with the pituitary, etc., then you will have difficulty breaking up fat. If you take a nap and feel better, glucose is down, and you take a nap, you don't eat, but you take a nap and you feel better, it means your pituitary is working. while you were napping, your pituitary was free to generate the proper hormones. The pituitary is largely behind your eyes, and if you sit down, close your eyes and relax, your pituitary has less strain from stress, etc. And the pituitary, so that means your pituitary is working. If you took a nap and you do not feel better consistently, I wake up after a 20, 30, 40-minute nap and gee, I feel shitty. I feel as bad, if not as bad as before. That means you're either under heavy-duty stress and you can't get rid of it. The FDA has just decided to extradite you. Ruin my nap.
I'm sure.
And if that happens, then then you know something's wrong with your pituitary. You got to do something with your pituitary. But for most people, a nap will improve. A power nap is a good thing because it stabilizes blood sugar. You don't have to eat a little snack, maybe a bite or something. You don't have to. And now gluconeogenesis. If you're jogging in the marathon, you're in the marathon. When you hit about the 18, 19, 20 mile wall, that is depletion of glycogen. They talk about the wall. That means your liver's done, and you got to break up fat to continue. You can't stop and get a burger or a Fanta. Here's where our body really gets down to. This glycogen that's converted out of muscles will only happen when it is in muscle action, exercise. And this gluconeogenesis is dramatically stimulated by exercise and oxygen. This is the way we're going to get our blood sugar, eating. If we haven't eaten, we will use up liver stores. If we haven't, once that is gone, we go to fat stores. The body defends fat stores because for ages and ages and ages, the human being had to deal with famines. Had to deal with long periods of time where there wasn't a lot of food. And the human beings that survived were the ones that could tolerate famine and the ones who could store fat. And hence, most people on the planet have problems because now we have a system where we're throwing in all this dextrose, making fat. And as you'll see in this one thing that you're going to watch, just 4 extra pistachio nuts a day, extra from what your body needs, and you can gain 1.5 pounds a year. Just from 4 frickin' nuts a day. But you can see why the American people have such problems because of that dextrose addiction.
So you say fat is toxicity then? That's my belief.
Fat will store. Yeah, fat is a toxin because you got to carry it around.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a handicap.
So like the fat is there to hold on to all these extra toxicities. So if you look at the nation now, and we add in insecticides, pesticides, all these different
every oil soluble toxin
mm-hmm.
gets stored in the fat.
So that's why obesity is such a high.
Basically, women would come to see me and have cellulitis. Mm-hmm. And I would say, when you need to take a shit, do you? Mm-hmm. Always. And I say, no, I can't. I'm a teacher. I work. I can't. I'm a bag handler at Safeway, and I got the urge to take a shit. I can't. And I said, well, remember a time or two you had to really, really go. You had to really get a big turd caught in your ass.
All right.
You just really got to go.
Got a turtleneck poking out.
Christian, this is the way Christian and I talk. And there you go, and you got to go, but you don't. You're busy. And an hour later, you think, okay, I'll go to the toilet. And then you go to the toilet an hour later, and you have nothing to give. What happened to it?
It's in your ass.
Not no more. Not no more.
Welcome cellulite.
Your body absorbs that mass through the walls of the intestine. Your body wants to live, and your body does not want that to be putrefied. And your body will absorb that mass into your body, and then now it's toxic mass, your body will store it in toxic fat. And you will exercise like crazy, and you're working out, and your body's hot and hot, and you touch that cellulite, and it's cold. Because the blood don't want to go there. Mm-hmm. The body sequestered it. That's what I call fat toxic sequestering. It sequestered those toxins into a place, and you're working out, and you, Jesus Christ, that's freaking cold. Because the blood don't want to go there. And those are going to be the hardest places to break up. I'd get out I had this great big C5, generator circle massager, super powerful, and I work that fucking cellulite. Then the ladies would say, Jesus, I had to go to the toilet. For 3 days, that's all it came out of me. And I said, well, yeah, I'm breaking up the shit. Mm-hmm. And that shit, once broke up in the bloodstream, will be dumped back into your intestine, and now this time you get rid of it.
That's the success of those vacuum therapies, how it vacuums and releases it.
When you're stimulated, I don't know if it vacuums much, but it does stimulate. It pulls blood. That's the nice thing about the vacuum. It pulls all that blood. That blood's going to go there where it didn't want to go. See? The blood doesn't want to go to that cellulite area. But now you're dragging the blood there, and the blood says, okay, I'll take away these toxins while I'm here. That's its job. So and that's where you get stored. One of the things that I found in dealing with weight loss that's fairly easy to do to get over this thing is to take 1 day a week and have it start with a 24-hour fast. You have dinner on, say, Monday night at 6 o'clock. And when you finish dinner, which was, I say, 6:30, you will now not eat until 6:30 the next day on Tuesday. Now that's not all that hard to do. It's a simple day. That's why we call breakfast is breaking the fast. And in the morning, you're usually not so hungry. You can get by, and you push it through the afternoon, staying on just water, light, dilute fruit juice, no Fanta, no candy bars. And once you have the next meal, the next day, have a nice meal, not a big meal, and then resist the rebound for the rest of the evening. That's the hard part. When you break the fast, that 24 hours, you're going to want to rebound. You're going to see just how many fucking French fries you can put in your mouth. And you want to resist the rebound. Resist the rebound. If you get good at this, then I can take you to the day and a half fast where you're going to have your meal once a week on that Monday, whatever night you choose. And you will not eat until Wednesday morning's breakfast, you see. You're going to go through that whole day and evening, teaching your body to be able to get, because you will during that day go past that glycogen storage, whoever you are. By the evening, you'll be into here. When you get to here, your body starts saying, I need to eat. And if you can override that and tell the body, eat up the fat. Eat the fat. What I tell the patients and myself is that the feeling of craving is a good thing. That is the signature that my body is making the hormones that break up the fat. So the hungrier I am, the more fat that I'm breaking up. That the hunger feeling is no longer a bad feeling, it's a good feeling.
Haven't had anything today.
Well, you'd be surprised, but if you can get through it, in our culture it's hard, but if you can get through that, that's one of the things I try to teach people in losing weight. Now the 24-hour fast, anybody can get through. And doing that once a week is a very good maintenance system, provided you can get through the rest of that evening without the rebound. Mm-hmm. Having a simple meal and then not resorting to anything more. Going to bed early that night.
What about the Master Cleanse in comparison?
I don't understand.
No, the Master Cleanse is like lemon juice, cayenne pepper with C-grade maple syrup.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. Now maple syrup is largely a dextrose. Mm-hmm. And I don't know enough about it. I've never tried it.
I've done it before, and everything comes out, and you do saltwater flushes in the morning, and I've actually done it with clients before, and it changes their whole immune system and their whole digestive system, turns it back on.
Well, I don't know enough about it, but I do know that it's a detoxifier, right?
Yes, it is.
So it's cleansing, and most of the time when people start a diet, what they're going to really first off lose is water and extra glucose.
Mm-hmm.
They were stored in some of the fats, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And then really getting to fat cells is much more difficult. But this is the pathway. This is the biological pathway that you need to know about satisfying blood sugar. So now you know that there's 3 possible ways. This is called glycogen lysis. Lysis means breaking up. Number 1 is eating. It's called eating. Number 2 is called glycogen lysis. Number 3 is called gluconeogenesis. You understand these 3? This will be on the test. And dextrose is the bad sugar. Dextrose bad. Fructose good. Understand?
Yes.
Working on it. I think I got it.
And there you put, besides fat, you put fatty acids. If someone's deficient in fatty acids doing that, I mean, it's still going to eat the other fats. I mean, it's not just going
to... fatty acids are the membrane of every cell.
Okay.
And they're the first fatty acids, the first time you're actually going to be pulling fatty acids out of the membrane. Then you have to break up all the fat cells. It's very difficult for a diet to work without exercise. There's the links of all this into muscle tissue and burning. It's very difficult for a diet to work without proper exercise.
What's that hormone on the bottom right there?
Somatotrophin. And people who want to say they take growth hormone and somatotrophin, and then they'll see it'll burn up fat.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Sylvester Stallone, it burns up fat and puts on muscle. However, at his age, he's going to have to keep taking it, and his body will get addicted to it. Secondary side effects might include problems with a lot of other things. You can see from the Rocky movies, and there's a new Rambo out now.
Oh, it's, yeah.
Is it good? Is it?
It's kick ass.
Is it?
Definitely one of the goriest movies I've seen in a long time.
Really?
Oh yeah, see little kids throwing in fires. It's pretty rough.
Jesus.
You watch it. Yeah.
Where does it take place? Philadelphia.
Thailand.
Thailand.
That area.
Yeah, really. Wow. Jeez.
Yes.
It takes place in a forest.
And at the end he goes. Needs to go. At the end, it's a really nice place to go because he's never been home since the war. If you watch the Rambos.
So, what?
Cut it up.
No, I'm just going to go into something else. I'm almost. So, okay.